My name is Pamela Fountain Brown. I am the Community and Citizenship Director for Turner Construction. I am joined this morning by Francisco Nunez, and we're going to get a little bit more information about Francisco. But the purpose of this video is to really talk more about and to put a human touch on the concept or the topic of how to become a certified business with the city of Chicago. Throughout my travels in the city and talking to different small businesses and other businesses, I get a ton of questions. So thought it would be a great idea to have an actual conversation
Yes.
with someone who's used to going through all this stuff and really helping and working with businesses to get their questions actually answered. So with that being said, Francisco, thank you for taking the time out to join me this morning on this call and on this recording. So I'm going to do my best to serve as the ambassador of all the businesses I've met to make sure that I'm asking all the right questions. So before we dive into it, can you give me a little bit of history on you and like how long you've been there, what you do,
Yeah.
and all that other good stuff?
So thank you for inviting us on behalf of the mayor, Mayor Lightfoot, and our acting chief procurement officer, Monica Jimenez. I want to take the time to thank everyone who invited us and everyone who's going to take participation in this. I think that the way that this is being set up is actually magnificent. My name is Francisco Nunez. I'm a certification officer with the city of Chicago, and I have been since January of 2015. Along these 6 years, I have learned a lot about business, but not just one area of business, but all areas of business. I can see what the similarities are between industries and what the big differences are. I believe that as a certification officer, I take it personally as if I'm the gatekeeper of this program. The city of Chicago, we do pride ourselves in giving full, thorough reviews. And the reason why we do that is we want to make sure that everyone who is certified is there because they qualify under the regulations. The regulations are set to help small minority owned businesses succeed and eventually become get to a stage where they don't need the certification program. In essence, they become the primes, right? And these are goals that the city of Chicago has had for many years. Right now, like you stated, it is very important that we get on top of this, especially with the COVID-19 pandemic. Our human interaction has been put way to the side. But here today, I hope to answer all those questions. And again, my background is in business. I've worked in schools, I've worked in the public sector, non for profit. So I have a pretty good understanding of most industries, and questions really are not going to rail me. So please give me your questions so I can answer them, and we can leave this with a brand new strategy. And hopefully, after this, we can have a couple of businesses that can really benefit from this.
Great. So let's get into it. First question: why should a business even become certified?
Okay, so certification as a whole. I want to put one thing out there. Certification as a whole is just a marketing tool for any business. Any business. If you become certified with the city of Chicago, or as a matter of fact, with any agency, it does not guarantee you any contracts. Just understand that. Now, why do you want to be certified? So, every governmental entity in the United States, for the most part, at least that I know of, at least the federal government and the city of Chicago, Cook County, state of Illinois, the Chicago Buildings Commission, Chicago Housing Authority, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, they all have goals for minority owned, women owned business participation. What does that mean? That means that if the city of Chicago, and this is just basic numbers, not real, say the city of Chicago puts out a bid for $1 million, and that bid is to repair 5 miles of road. The city of Chicago is going to ask for people to submit their bids, and when they submit their bids, they're supposed to include a plan on how they are going to utilize minority and women-owned businesses and incorporating them into the plan of building these 5 roads. And the way that the city does is by putting goals. So, for example, as it stands now, most contracts have a 25% minority owned business participation goal and a 5% women owned business participation goal. Now, with that being said, it doesn't mean that people are going to call you as a business owner to say, hey, you're certified, come work for me. No, this certification gives you the power to go to these primes and say, look, this is my certification, these are my capabilities, and this is what I can do. Give me an opportunity. And then we have programs like Turner Construction School of Construction, and these programs will then help put everything together. Now, that's one. That's with the governmental aspect.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that a lot of people ignore is the public sector's
Mm-hmm.
request for minority, women-owned, veteran-owned participation. There are so many for like I mean, here in Illinois alone, we have so many S&P Fortune 500 companies, and these Fortune 500 companies and a lot of these publicly traded companies have diversity goals. They're always looking for participation, and unfortunately, we as minority owners sometimes fail to understand that. And a lot of these contracts that are being awarded go without participation because we don't uh, expose ourselves and put our name in the list.
Mm-hmm.
So what ends up happening is that these primes get the contract with the assumption that they're going to hire minority owned businesses. But because they were never able to get a hold of them, they can then deviate the contract to where they keep 100%. Oh, well, we tried to look for someone, but we couldn't find anyone. No. Once you're certified, look at everything. Public, private, even even like straight up residential. Some like for example, me, my family, we own buildings, and we make sure that any contract we give is to a minority-owned business,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what. So there's so many ways to utilize this certification. Just make sure that you don't leave any of them untapped. That's my opinion, and that's what I have seen. Some of the faster growing companies do.
Okay. That's a good response to that. It's just a tool in your toolbox, right? In your
Yes.
business plan and in your business model to do that. So, we've been told or we've heard that the process to actually do this is really onerous, right? So, what top 5 documents would a business need to have to even start the certification process?
Okay, so this is the main things you have to become certified. You have to be a legal entity in the state of Illinois. What does a legal entity mean? It could be you go to the Cook County and submit uh, an assumed name certificate, meaning that I'm going to use my social security number to work as say for example Nunez Construction. So it'd be Francisco Nunez doing business as Nunez Construction.
Okay.
That would mean that you are a legal entity. You can get certified once you have that. Tax returns. Make sure you have tax returns. If you're a construction company, 5 years of personal, 5 years of company. If you are not a construction company, or if you're seeking DBE, ACDBE certification, you only need 3, but they have to be filed. Let me see, what's the next one? Make sure that you have proof of how, when you started your company, what money that you use.
Mm.
That is the biggest, smallest thing in the world. But the problem is that, and the reason why that's so important is because when we see who put that money to start this company, we see whether that company, it was really your idea, or if someone enlightened you and unbeknownst to you might be pushing you down a road that doesn't qualify you for certification. So part of
Okay.
certification, you have to be able to demonstrate that you are in control and operating independently. And that is a big place where we look. Where did the starting funds come from?
Okay.
That shows your control. So that's one, two. We have taxes.
So does it matter?
Three.
Does it matter how much money you needed to start your company? You're just
No.
looking at where it came from. Okay.
Yes. Yes. Like think about this. If you have a consulting company, what does it cost you to start a consulting company? Incorporation fees, $150. I mean, it doesn't matter. And I think that's where a big misconception among small business owners are, is that they think that they need to come in with a lot of money. No, just set it up. Do it as you can. That's the whole point of this purpose. So we
Okay.
said you got to be a legal entity. That's number one. You have to have your taxes. That's number two. You have to be able to demonstrate where your money came from. That's number three. Resume. Your resume has to be on point. So if I've been a teacher my entire life and I can't prove that I ever have ever done construction, I can't then start a construction company and try to get certified. I have to have the background. I have to have the knowledge. Me, not my employees, not my partners. The qualified person has to have the experience and capacity to do the work. A lot of times, here's what we see, and there's nothing wrong with this, but you just cannot be certified. Here's what we see a lot. Francisco Nunez is a person who very good worker. I'm a very good worker. Someone comes to me like, man, Francisco, you should open up a construction company. And then I say, well, I don't know nothing about construction. Don't worry about that. I know someone that's going to help you. They know
Mm.
construction. All you got to do is start the company, get certified, and you're going to get a bunch of contracts. But what they fail to tell you is good luck getting certified, because you have to prove that you can do the work. And then what ends up happening is that people come into the certification process with with a misconception that then makes it very frustrating for them.
Mm.
So just know that whenever you're seeking certification, part of one of the biggest parts of the review is to be able to demonstrate that you personally can do the work.
So,
Look, I'm sorry, go ahead.
question,
Yes.
because this is what I get from time to time. Well, that's fine, but if I want to become certified as a construction manager, that doesn't necessarily require me to have any experience as with an actual hammer or any of the tools. What happens in that case?
No, so yes, you're absolutely right. We have been making differentiation more on the blue collar, white collar sections of construction per
Mhm.
se. We have construction managers, right? A construction manager is normally never going to grab a hammer and nail it into the wall, but they have to have the ability to know how to do it, right? If they
Okay.
don't know how to do it, then how can they control someone else to do it? They're depending on someone else to help them make sure that the job is done correctly. Therefore, they're not in control or operating the firm independently. Now, a lot of times, what happens is you'll have a duo, right? You have a two-person duo. One person's the doer, the other person's the administrator. That works. That's great, as long as you guys have a good understanding. Um, so we have that. And then the fifth one that's also very important is your equipment and contracts. But the
Mm.
contracts, make sure you can, don't, like, sometimes people submit contracts that are not real. Like they just submit a contract, and then don't do that, because if you submit a contract and then we ask you for proof of payment and you're like, oh well, and then you can never produce that, that raises a lot of questions. And
Hmm.
so always make sure that everything you're submitting is, you can back up 100% with monetary payments, even like your equipment, for example. Yeah, you have an equipment list. Oh yeah, you bought a semi. You have a semi truck under your company's name. Can you show me how you paid for it? We need to be able to prove all that, because again, it goes back to the whole concept. Who's in control of this company? Who's pumping the money? Who has the experience? Now, let's say, for example, I'm one of those guys. Someone like Francisco, you're a very bright guy. You should start a construction company. I don't know nothing about construction. Don't worry about it. I'm like, okay, sounds good. I don't know nothing about construction. I can start a company. I just can't be certified. And then once I get my 2 years of experience in that company, I got 2 years of experience and I've been doing it in my own company. So I always like to tell people not to be discouraged, especially in the beginning. If they can't prove something, that's fine. Keep doing your job, and then eventually you will qualify for it because you know what the answers to the test are. All you have to do is go get them.
Okay. So then, from how you just described this, let's say I'm a new business. I just decided to start Pam's Plumbing,
Yes.
right? Only been around for 30 days. The chances of me being able to be certified are what?
If you've never been a plumber and you're not a licensed plumber, zero.
Okay.
So that's a good question because in construction there are some industries that you have to have special licenses for, and that's one of them: plumber, electrician, even general contractors need a special license. But let me tell you, the general contractor license does not make you or break you when it comes to certification.
Okay.
If you want to be certified as a general contractor, as a residential remodeler, commercial handyman, anything like that, you still have to have a general contractor's license. But as we all know, general contractor license do not require any type of experience, anything except a fee and proof of insurance. So it is not a basis for you to prove, oh, look, I'm a licensed general contractor. But now, on the other hand, if you can provide a supervisor electrical license, if you could provide a plumbing license, if you could provide a concrete license, a masonry license, your EPA card for your HVAC, along with a 2 year certification program. Those are the things that are going to help you qualify. If you are seeking certification in a construction code that requires special licensing, the qualifying owner most of the time has to be the person who holds the license.
Okay.
Again, like I told you before, there are exceptions to this. Now, Pam
Hmm.
plumbing, right? She doesn't know nothing about plumbing, but guess what? She found 8 good plumbers and they're all licensed and they do a great job. All of a sudden, Pam's plumbing is doing wonderful. 5 years down the line, Pam has 20 plumbers, and the original 8 don't even work for her anymore. So you see, now Pam can prove and say, I don't have a license, but I've been managing plumbers for so many. My original 8 ain't even with me. I was able to get another. I'm a signatory to the union. The union knows who I am. So you see, everything with this time, you have to be able to tell, like one of our senior certification officers, Cordell McGarry. I'm sure someone on this call will know who he is.
Hmm.
He always says, you got to be able to tell a story. Tell a story. And then back it up. Back it up with some of these documents. Listen, these are small companies. Okay? A lot of these companies are one person companies. The city, we're not here to try to, bully anyone. We're just here to try to make sure that you're good to go and that we're protecting that program. Because if you're in that program, you're the one that's being protected.
Right. That's all very, very good points. So now I'm excited.
Yes.
Francisco, you've got me all pumped up about this. And so, yes, so I'm going to go out and beat the pavement. And now I'm on the hook. Someone is saying, we're going to give you a contract, Pam's Plumbing, but we need your certification. And I'm like, oh, I applied for it. I don't have it yet. What happens then? Should I blow up your phone and say, Francisco, I got a contract. I need my certification?
No. So understand that. Understand this. Um, and it's the toughest part about our job. It's like you said, you're so excited. You just got an opportunity to get this $2 million job, and it's like, oh my God, I need to get certified. Here's the problem. The problem is that almost everyone that applies says that.
Mm.
Everyone that applies says, I have a contract on the line. So because of that, we can't, like, me personally, I do my best. If anybody ever tells me I have a contract pending, I do my best to try to go through it as good fast as possible. But it that is, how can I say this? It's tough to put that on the officer.
Okay.
It's tough to put it on the officer. What I always tell people is this: if that opportunity that you're talking about is real, there is no reason that they cannot use you once you have your certification.
Got it.
That's just my personal opinion, and it is not the city's. I'm speaking through the mind of Francisco Nunez, not representing anyone. That's just what I tell people, and 90% of the time, people are like, "Oh, yeah, you're right, but can you still hurry?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yes, of course I can still hurry."
Yes. So it makes sense then, right? So if I started out this relationship and they said, "We love you, Pam, we're going to give you a shot," right? And then if that at some point I now have my certification, can that company now come back and say, "Hey, we hired Pam and she has her certification now." Like,
Mhm.
you know.
They can, but that would be more on the compliance of the contract administrators. And when it comes down to like maybe private areas, like private contracts, maybe that'll be more. But when it comes to, say, for example, a compliance plan with the city, primes, and don't quote me on this because I'm not a compliance expert, but it is my understanding that primes are able to switch um, subcontractors if they violate like some specific things.
Oh,
So
they have to be able to submit a solid plan as to why this change is occurring, right?
yes,
They have to be able to show, well, here's what happened, and here's how we've been in communication with Pam's Plumbing all along to say, here are the issues. So you're absolutely right in that there is a compliance piece of it, but that's also a part of being in constant communication in this partnership.
yes, and a piece of advice. At least on mine, I can't speak for all the other officers, but I can say that when it comes to reviewing applications, our job is to review what you submitted first. What
Okay.
are you trying to tell us? You're trying to tell us you do this, this, this. Sometimes we look at them like, man, it seems more like they do this, this, this. But because the NACES code system is so complicated, we can get like just go through a vine of information and really not get the detailed information that we need as a business. So what I do sometimes is, say for example, Pam's Plumbing, right? Comes that they want to get certified as they want to get certified as a say they want to get certified as a plumbing contractor, like you said, right? But they don't have the licensing. But what they do have is they have the ability to come in and break all the concrete to
Okay.
to set up because they have a concrete license. So then I'll be like, oh look, I understand you have a concrete license, but you're focusing on sewer and drain construction outside. I'll be like, well, why don't you get certified as site preparation? Or why don't you get certified as this? So the point and the reason why I'm saying this, I recommend that anyone, once they know who their certification officer is, give them a call. Just
Okay.
give them a call and say, hey, listen, I want to introduce myself. I want to, talk about my file a little bit. Can we set up a time? And
So
then
that's allowed. So once I submit my application to become certified, do I get a notice saying that you've been assigned to Francisco? And that's allowed for me to talk.
absolutely, absolutely. The squeaky wheel gets the oil. I'm telling you, because we, like, for example, we as officers, we carry heavy caseloads. So, I mean, and now think about this. We go from reviewing a file that has to do with bridge construction, and then we're reviewing an ice cream shop, the next one.
Mm.
It's kind of, I mean, the transition in thoughts is just so great that the more you stay on top of our mind or in our mind, the more we're like, oh, let me go take a look at that. The faster you respond to questions, the better.
Okay.
Because me as an officer, once I get knee deep into one of these files and I see everything that I need, and I send the request for information and I'm still wrapping stuff up and they respond within a couple of days, everything is fresh in my mind. I don't have to go back into
Hmm.
and look at everything again. But because I have everything fresh in my mind, oh, here it is, boom, 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 done. Let me submit it. So just be sure to have some type of communication with the officer. So then that way, if he or she requires information, you as the vendor can provide it efficiently and adequately. Because other times we get information that is not necessarily what we're looking for.
Okay. So, what do you think? And this is a perfect segue into this question. What are some of the most common mistakes you've seen with companies trying to file for their certification?
Okay, so in order being certified, let me see. For a small business, I'm talking about a small business, a
Hmm.
startup. The biggest things that I have seen is that people are not able to focus in the areas of their expertise.
Okay.
I think we get excited and want to do everything rather than just say, let me get this right now, and then once I'm certified, I can expand on that. I can
Okay.
continue to add codes. That's one. Just not knowing what exactly is it that you do. Two is sometimes we have applicants who just don't qualify for the program. They just don't. And unfortunately, they don't realize it, but they just don't because they fall under all of those control issues and dependence issues. They got the money from people who are not, who shouldn't be, can't be certified. So that's another thing. Okay, so just before you apply for certification, just be honest with yourself as a business owner and the basic things. Am I in control of this company? Do I have the experience? That I use my own money? If you can't answer those questions honestly and say yes, that's another big issue.
Mm.
Unfortunately, because this is we offer many contracts that are very big in price. It's gonna bring in people who are not following the rules. It's gonna bring in people who want to get one over on the other. And then the other thing too that I would say is people don't keep up with communication.
Mm.
So people submit the application, and all of a sudden, 60 days later, I mean, you're running a business. You don't have time to be keeping up with me doing my job. But then here comes 60 days later, Francisco starts sending an email. I need this, I need that, I need this. Oh, well, I'll get to it later. I'll get to it later. Boom, here comes a month passes, and we still don't get Francisco that information. Francisco has to close the application
Oh, wow.
because because you didn't respond. So those are the big three things I would say. Uh, People just uh, either lose interest, don't have time to respond. Another one is people just don't have the capability yet to do the job. And then you just have the people that shouldn't be certified.
Okay. So then, what then happens if I'm denied a certification? Can I appeal? Is there a body that I can
Yes.
appeal to?
Yes. So if you're denied certification, you go through what's called an appeal process. And the appeal process, what's good about it is that it removes the Department of Procurement Services. It goes to the Chicago Department of Law. So it's done by a completely different department, and then they will give their determination whether they uphold the denial or or they overturn it. To be quite honest, I always like to tell people, and we're in the business of certifying people. We're not in the business of denying.
Mm.
We're not here to deny. But if we deny, most of the time it's for a reason. And it has nothing to do with the business owner personally. Just sometimes, unfortunately, we're not at the place that the regulations require us to be in order to be certified.
Okay.
If anyone who is denied and they're an actual legitimate company, all I would say, the best advice I can give anyone is look at your business again. Think about what is that primary function, the only one function that is going to keep me from starving or my business from going down, down,
Mm.
right? So me, and I'll go back to Nunez Construction. If in Nunez Construction, I get residential remodels where I do ply, I do framing and drywall. But then all of a sudden, I want to start doing roofs. I want to start pouring foundations. Wait, dude. You're making your money by framing and drywall. Relax. Like, wait until you naturally go to that next level. And that happens a lot, unfortunately.
Yeah. 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 So, um, I want to wrap up all the great stuff because you shared some great
Yes, thank
information
you.
today. So, I want to wrap up some good stuff. So, number one, right? Folks should be prepared when they submit their application.
Yes.
Number two, it sounds like it would be a good idea if they were to appoint someone as their communications person to stay in contact with
A lot of
their
people do
certification
that.
officer,
A lot of people
right?
do that.
Like, here's, I need to put you in contact with them because we need to get this going,
Yes, a
right?
lot of people do that.
Okay. And then number three, it seems like it's not only stay in contact with you, but even just stay connected to the city services in general to find out what opportunities are out there to maybe get connected to some of those businesses who are looking
Yes,
for certified
absolutely.
firms.
Absolutely.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I'll piggyback on that a little bit. The Department of Procurement Services annually provide. Well, I know Turner Construction knows a lot about this because you guys work very closely with the Department of Procurement Services. But we have a lot of events where we try to. I mean, COVID-19 really messed everything up. But before the COVID-19 pandemic started, we were having the construction summits where we were bringing in the primes like Turner Construction, Wash, and bringing them in a room full of certified minority, women-owned, veteran-owned businesses. And that was working out great. Unfortunately, the pandemic put an end to that. But being able to stay in constant communication with those opportunities is very important. And right now during the pandemic, I've been telling people to visit our YouTube channel. It's
Okay.
called Chicago DPS.
Okay.
That's our YouTube channel. In our YouTube channel, you'll be able to find all of our workshops, including if you want to go into detail about how to become certified, there's some there, and you could find the one where I'm the one moderating, or you could go with Cordell. There's other officers. There's also one that's called How to Become. I'm certified. Now what?
That's huge.
So you go do that. I'm certified. Now what? Okay. Then there's doing business with the city. There's another one. This is more for mid-sized companies, but the city's also doing another incentive initiative where they are awarding smaller contracts to minority women-owned firms directly without a prime. So,
Mm.
those are things that we need to know about because as a small business, we're not going to get stuck as a small business. We want to keep on going. So, what's my next goal? What's my next goal? What's my next goal? So, that's the way that I see things. I mean, honestly, since I started working at Department of Procurement Services, me myself, as a human myself, I'm like, hey, what am I doing here? I should be on the other side of the screen.
You have a lot, and I know this. DPS in the city offers some great resources for certified businesses, for small businesses. But one of the things I tell businesses, like, stay connected, right? Stay connected in major ways because you are your brand, right? And especially now in this virtual space, it's a little bit difficult to market yourself, but it's also really accessible, right? To find out
Yes.
about these different events and to take time out to log on just to watch a video or even just to log on and just hear what's being said. So that's another great takeaway from this conversation. And like as being a business owner, it's your responsibility to stay connected to opportunities and resources that you will need to grow and be successful. So I want to thank you, Francisco, for joining me on this conversation today. I'm certain we're going to have plenty more in the future, especially with all of the projects that are coming to our city and coming to our area. We're going to meet a lot of more businesses who are definitely excited to become certified and get connected to the Department of Procurement Services. So on behalf of Turner Construction and all of the projects that I represent, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your knowledge.
Well, thank you very much for having us. And again, on behalf of the mayor, Lori Lightfoot, and our acting chief procurement officer, Monica Jimenez, just know that we're here to support in any way you need. Please feel free to contact my department and ask for me if you want me to come out at any other time. This is a passion for me, and I look forward to working with you guys in the future as well.
Thank you again, Francisco. You have a great day.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thanks for watching. Check out the playlist for more Lakeside Alliance content. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button to get more updates on our information sessions, contracting opportunities, as well as partner videos. For more, visit lakesidealliance.com.